Hey guys, Brainleach here. Sorry for the weird video. I'm recording this through a webcam on top of my monitor to my desk, so it's easier to see and the camera's not between me and what I'm working on. But today I'm going to go through disassembling an XTS2500 R2, upgrading it to an R3, and adding a UCM or Universal Control Module, I believe. It's for encryption for AES 256. So what you're going to need is an XTS2500, the R3 shell with all the associated knobs, buttons, switches, the keypad. This tool is helpful. It's not necessary, but this end here is great for pulling the volume knob on the 2500s. This one's actually meant for a 5000. I haven't gotten in the 2500s yet, but you can accomplish it with a little flathead screwdriver. I also have a dental pick, great for getting the real tiny stuff, especially the ribbon cable that attaches on the back side of this. It's a real tight spot, and I'll give you guys a close-up of that, but it's kind of a pain in the butt to get out, so you need something tiny that can kind of get in there and pull it out for multiple sections because it goes through all of these connectors on the back side. Pen light, it's great for the weird stuff since I don't have a great work light over in this area of my desk, so I just hold this in my mouth to turn it on and helps you see. And then the UCM, this also has a full keypad. These came from some R3s. They're from BSH Comms, his eBay store. When I bought these, he had a couple left. They might still be there, they might not, either way. But yeah, so these will work perfectly in these guys. And I already did one, so I'm an expert on this by now. Well, first what you're going to do, take the battery off. Take off this little PTT adapter deal. Just snaps off. Next, you're going to want to take off the volume knob. Just kind of work this tool on here. Pull off. And you can keep these if you want, or if the kit you get does not come with new ones. But I don't know, it's kind of, you can kind of see that. The tool does mar them up a bit, and these are pretty grody, so I'm just tossing them. And then I just put everything in a little bowl so I can keep track of it. What you're going to do next is flip the radio upside down so the knobs are facing towards you. And then if you have the correct tool, this is a perfect opportunity for it. You can wedge it in here and pry, and you will pull this cast aluminum or magnesium, whatever this is, section out. I don't have this, and the 5000s are very different from the 2500s in this respect, so that won't work. So what you do, take your screwdriver, and you can kind of see the indent, like the two little ears here. Put the screwdriver between those and try to get between the plastic case and the housing and pop it open and pry it open. Now, if you're recasing these, it's not the end of the world if you break the case. It is avoidable, and it's not hard to avoid doing it, but it's not the end of the world if you do break it. So just keep that in mind. If you aren't recasing it, then you want to be careful. These are pretty stout though, so not a huge worry about snapping it or breaking it or anything, but, don't be stupid. This will take a minute, but then this has a little notch. You can't really see it in the video. There's a little notch here that you can get your screwdriver behind to help pry it out further. Once you get it to this point here where you can start to see the O-ring, you need to be very careful because there's two ribbon cables attached at the back here on the other side of this. You don't want to break those connections. You don't want to rip them out of anything. So you want to be real nice and gentle when you're pulling this. And as you're pulling, you can kind of wiggle it a bit and pull the two pieces apart. Oh, crap. So, just make sure I didn't break anything. So this is the inside. One of the ribbon cables did they both disconnected, one from different sides. Nothing broke, it doesn't look like, which is fantastic, because that would have sucked a lot. You're probably going to have some dust and grime around the O-ring. You can clean that up. That's not a big deal. So this is what that looks like. You're not going to need this guy anymore, well, for the time being. So you can just set that off to the side. And I dropped some stuff, but that was just, forgot to take off the channel knob, because you need to do that because that attaches to this middle point here. So when I pulled the pieces apart, that went flying. So no big deal there. Get rid of that. Now comes the fun part. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to have to take this part out and this. This up here is this screen that you're looking at the back side of it. Something I noticed on the first one I did is you can take this ribbon cable, since it's connected to the mic, and you're not going to be able to get that till the very end. You can hook it up on the top here, and there's a little groove by the antenna knob, so you can get it hooked up there so it's not in your way. And so for these two pieces here, the shield and the screen, I leave them connected. This piece right here is a sticky piece. There's adhesive holding these two together. This is an actual connection, but it is adhered to the metal cage as well. And so for this, you've got the 4 tabs. You've got this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one right over here. What I did is you can actually just pull it apart like this, and yeah, that comes up in video. These two right here already came up, so you can start fiddling with the screen now. And the screen, there we go. So there's 2 connection points up here by the speaker mic, right here. You can pop those out, and then there's 2 ears down here where it meets the metal cage, and that slots in. So you got to pull the top ears, and then you can actually probably just dump it upside down. Yep, and there you go. So for this keypad here, this isn't a full keypad, so we don't need to keep it, but you've got this connection here, so we'll undo that, and then you can pull these 2 pieces apart. You can keep this if you want, turn it into a keychain, frisbee, shooting target, whatever, repurpose it. I don't need it, so it's going in the bin. Don't need this for right now, so I'm just going to set that off to the side. Pull this out just so it's not flopping around. Next is this white piece right here. This is really easy to, I say that and then I can't get it out first try. Just kind of pull the end that's not under the ribbon cable up and then just kind of wiggle it and it'll come out just like that. It's held in mostly by friction, and then it's under the ribbon cable. You will need this, so keep hold of that. We're going to set that off to the side. Now is the fun part. You've got the this portion right here of the microphone. That tab right there that you can see right there, you have to push this down and push it through this little plastic bridge right here. There's an opening underneath that this pushes through. So you just kind of have to fiddle with it. You can't go full gorilla mode on it because you do need the speaker. You just kind of have to push it, prod it a bit. I find that if you hold the flathead perpendicular to it, push it down on it, and then try to push it through, that's the best way to do it, I've found. Granted, this is only my 2nd time, but still. You might have to hold it at a bit of a 45 to the part instead of perfectly perpendicular. It is a bit tight in there with the screen cover, but just fiddle with it a bit and you should be able to get it eventually. Alright, there we go. So, once you have that popped out of there, you can pull it out and just kind of wiggle it a bit. It goes under the ribbon cable over here, and then back into this corner that you can't really see. Let me get a light on that real quick. So that washes out pretty good on video, doesn't it? You can kinda... Yeah, I'm not going to really be able to show this off. Well, there you go. So the other end of the ear goes in this section here. You've got quite a bit of wiggle room for rotating it around. So once you have it unhooked from the spot over in here, you'll be able to kind of fiddle it around, pull it off, and pull it out. The next part is the most fun, and that is removing these guys right here. And it's a friction fit pin connection. There is glue in there too, and this is where the dental pick comes in handy, because I'm sorry that the video quality is so bad, but you have to get in like these little corners here and here and just slowly pry it out as you're going and pull the glue off and pull them apart. A bit of a pain in the ass. You might hear some scary noises. As long as you aren't ripping pins out or doing anything crazy like that, you should be alright. It might get scratched up a bit, which isn't ideal, but from the short bit of testing I did with the other one I did, it still works. So, you know, don't go gorilla mode, but you can't really baby it either. And I usually start on the end furthest away from the top housing because you have more leverage there. You have to kind of go at it at the side. You can probably hear that glue. If you wanted to switch to the screwdriver at this point, you probably could. Give you a better surface. Just take it nice and easy here. You don't want to break anything. Alright, we're free. The last piece of the puzzle is this little white guy here. This is some kind of butylene rubber or something. It's pretty soft, and it's just a friction fit in there. So you can pull the speaker out, if I can manage that. There we go. And then just, can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm just slowly wiggling back and forth to pull that guy out. And there you have the full assembly. And we can look at this guy, kind of focusing. You can see a bit of a scrape up top here. It's not real bad though, and nothing detrimental. And once you've completed that, you don't need this housing anymore, so I'm just going to set it off to the side here, grab my new housing, and before I forget, I'm going to peel the screen protector off on the inside. Something to note on these radios too, if you haven't used them before, there's a little fiber optic right here that whenever you transmit, it lights up. Under the naked eye, it's not bad, but if you're using night vision, it's very noticeable. So if you have some, what you could do is put some black nail polish or something on here, or really any color just to block the light from coming through. I don't. So I'll probably pick some up from the dollar store or something, and then just paint over this spot right here where the light flashes out from the case. It's right next to the Charlie Zone icon. So yeah, just put some black nail polish over that if you don't have it when you do all this fun stuff. And putting it back together is just the reverse of disassembling it. So first you're going to start with this little guy. I'm going to put the flashlight in my mouth, so I'm not going to talk for a minute just so I can see what I'm doing better. That was easy. On the little white piece down here, there is a ridge, so it looks like an upside down T, and that fits into a slot cut in the plastic. So it's very easy to get that put back into place. And you want to put that back in before you get the microphone fully seated. Otherwise, you'll have to take your screwdriver or whatever other tool you have, to try to fiddle it around and get it seated properly. Next is the PTT connection. Lining this up is not the easiest thing, because the ribbon cable has a mind of its own. But once you get it started, it goes together pretty easily. Come on now. Some might find it easier to put this portion in first. I don't disagree with that. I did that on the first one. But again, it's not that hard. Just pull the ribbon cable out from over in this area and just make sure it's not caught on anything, and then it will go together nice and simple. And this is a friction fit, so it takes a bit of pressure to get it connected, but once it's in, I have a hard time believing that's going to move. So next piece is going to be the screen, the UCM, and that metal shield. So this is what the front of the R3 keypad looks like versus the R2. So you can see the brass versus the silver. The silver are actual functional buttons. The brass are solder pads or something like that, to where you could add buttons if you wanted to. But I'm not that confident in my soldering skills, so I'm not even going to attempt that. And then on the back side, you can see on the UCM, there's a lot more going on, and I imagine that's because, one, it's a UCM, and two, because it has a full keypad. It does have the same connections though, so it's plug and play. And remember, this is just for the XTS2500s. The 5000s are a completely different animal inside. I don't even know if the screens would fit in the 5000s, because they're just so different on the inside and layout and connection points and all that stuff. So buyer beware when you're looking for these. The 2500 UCMs are scarce as all get out. So if you can find some, cool. If not, then you go with a 5000, because those UCMs are all over the place. Go with an EF Johnson. But you know, if you're really having a hard time finding P25 stuff because the market is drying up, then you can hop on the DMR train too. So there's a lot of cool stuff in there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to connect these two up. This connection point right here by my ring finger that I'm tapping goes right to this guy right here. It's a little rectangular connection of some kind. And you just press it together, and Bob's your auntie. I'm going to leave the ribbon cable not attached for the moment, because we don't need it attached right this second. Set that down real quick. Get this back up here out of the way. So first things first, with the screen, Right here you've got a little ear. You've got one on both sides. Those need to go in first before the top can click in or before this plate can click in. So I kind of hold it like this. Get those ears in situ. And then you can press down on the top of the clear plastic on the case, or on the screen, sorry. And that will go in just fine. For this metal piece, you can hook one side in, and then you'll need to take your screwdriver and kind of adjust things a little bit, but then you can just give it a bit of pressure. And if you need to, you can use a screwdriver for this as well, and just push on those ears until they are fully seated. Give the other side a check. We're good over there. Is that? This side's not all the way in. There we go. Okay, so next up is the fun part. And what I like to do on this, or what I did last time, is I pull the ribbon cable off here, and I attach it to this guy first. I should have done this before I put it in, but oh well. So you want to get that ribbon cable seated, and then you have to lock it in. Make sure it's lined up. And so that's what that looks like. You can kind of see that little brown bar up top with the step in it. That is a locking mechanism. So you want to make sure that's locked. Yeah, we're good there. Next, we have to connect these two. And it's pretty easy to tell which goes where because you've got one wide one and one thin one. So make sure these are unlocked, and they are. And you might not be able to see this very well because it's kind of a weird position to hold everything in. Well, shit. I didn't break it, but it came out of place. Thank goodness. That would have been a mess. Alright, so get that locked in. Perfect. Oh, damn it. Can't really use a radio without a keypad. Totally forgot that. Give me 1 second. So, sorry about that. Take your keypad, line everything up, push it in. It's not going to be the most snug fit, but once everything is all together, it will stay nice and secure. Another thing I forgot is this little white piece. And you'll notice one side of the injection molding has the shape of the back of the speaker. So it's pretty easy to tell what goes where. And it goes under this section right here of the ribbon cable. So the two little ears are going towards the PTT mic side. Lost the keypad, I'll fix that in a minute. So it's going to be pretty much the same story as when you removed it. Just put the side with the ears in, drop the other side in, and you're done. So we'll go through this again real quick. The screen and the UCM. Got to tuck the ears in first. Push it in. It's a bit snug, more snug with the keypad in there, which is good. So we get two sides in. Push the UCM over. And then we'll get these little Tabs. Done. Ah, I'm realizing I forgot something else. This is a freaking mess, guys. Alright, so even though we just put that white piece in, we're going to have to take that back out. Sorry about this, guys. It's only my second time. So you're going to take the side with the little tip, and that's going to go towards the bottom of the radio. The other end is going to go under the ribbon cable here and into the corner. And make sure you get this circle around that part of the mic. And then you can hold that in place with one hand while you push down and push through on the other end. And now we have our mic retained properly. So we'll throw this guy back in. Boom, done. Alright, next steps. Just gotta check something here, make sure. Just making sure I'm putting the ribbon cable the right way. So we're gonna add this back to this section. So I feel it is easier to get both these ribbon cables here into this at one time instead of trying to get one into here and one into here. You can do it however you want though. Get that locked in. Double check. It's a little off kilter. Let me fix that. There we go. Perfect. And as I was saying before, it's really easy to not screw this up, at least which ribbon cable goes where, because one is thin and one is wide. So, add that one. Come on, play nice. You're not playing nice. Got that one set. Got this one set. Motherfucker. Alright, I'm going to get these lined up ish. And you want to make sure your O-ring is in the groove that it is, that's cut for it. Otherwise you won't get good weather sealing. Maybe I have that one backwards. Let's try it the other way around. So it doesn't seem to play nice. Alright, we got the ribbon cables connected. We're going to line all this up. You will notice on the volume and power knob, it is pretty darn snug around the weather seal there. So be careful not to rip that out of the case. And then you want to get the top side in first, so it'll go in at an angle. We'll get that pushed up all the way. give your O-ring one final look, and then just push it together and it'll snap into place like that. You can double check all the seals. So for the top part, you've got 3 pieces. The first one you'll need is this guy right here, this guy right here, and you can see in the middle it's got kind of that Batman symbol. That's going to correspond, one of the 2 words. Can't really pick it up on video, but it's this middle section here. It's the channel and zone select knob. So you might need to turn that a bit to get it to fit properly, but once you do, it will snap into place like that, and you can see it's working. Got Charlie, snug, Bravo, Alpha, and then you've got your channel select knob, and this pin here is D-shaped, and the opening on this is also D-shaped, so you will line that up and send it home. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's working properly. Last is the volume, also a D-shaped hole, and this one has a metal clip in there formed to the D shape. That is to grip onto this guy better. Got that gorilla grip, you know, and keep it from falling off. So this one does take a bit more pressure than the other ones, but fit on there just nicely. So we'll peel that protective screen off on that one. Throw that away. Where is... grab my antenna real quick. Oop, bumped the camera, sorry about that. You can still see though, just connecting an antenna. Then get the battery, and then we can power it on. And I don't have Alpha programmed, I do have Bravo. So, man, that is hard to see. There we go. And then we can run through the self-test. Or the service. You can see, I know it's reversed, sorry about that. But it should scroll through here. There you go. That's the UCM right there, the XTS2500. The rest of this, you know, just information on the radio. But yeah, that's how you do it. And now you have a shiny new radio. And then, if you want, you can take a paint pen, which I like to do, and I give every radio in my fleet a number, and I also put what frequency band it's on. So VHF, UHF, HF, whatever it is, just so as I'm loaning these out, I can keep track of who has what radio, and then if one goes down for whatever reason, I can make a note like UHF2 down, can TX, can't RX, or whatever the issue is, give a brief synopsis, chuck it in my pack, and then when I get home, after tooling around in the woods or whatever I was doing, I can diagnose it and try to figure out what happened. So for the cases, I got those on eBay. They were about $25 a piece. They came with all the buttons and knobs and everything, and the keypad here. They didn't come with any of the internals though. So you will need a donor, I guess, or victim. Let's go with victim. To put all the guts of the victim into this guy, because yeah, just an empty radio case might look cool on a plate carrier or something, but doesn't get the job done. But yeah, that's it. You know, DM me if you have any questions, comments, whatever. Happy to help in any way I can, and yeah, we'll see you later.